Alrighty. Let's start with some incline today, eh? Alrighty. Alright. Oh. Alright. Back to bench again. Hey guys, how you going? Have you been reading any good books lately? No, I haven't read anything recently at all. Miz, what's going on, man? Welcome back. Is this actually live or is this a recording? Is now airing. Is this actually live or is this a recording? No, when it says live, it's live, man. It's not a recording. Today I decided to try incline first and then flat second to see how that feels. Now that I've lost all that momentum from the bench press that I had a few weeks ago, might as well just start messing around with it a little bit. Try different ideas. And by the time I get into the swing of things, hopefully the strength returns and then I can get back to it, you know, chasing that 30 repper with 100. Let's see what happens, man. How's everyone doing? Jordan, you all right, man? I mean, as I always ask everyone, is the sound all right? I've had some troubles with sound over the last few weeks. Miz, your fat shaming videos have been getting a lot of controversial feedback. Yeah, and as expected, I think most people probably that comment are going to be very emotional about the whole thing. You know, I'm not saying all of this stuff to piss people off. I'm literally saying it that there are different perspectives to this problem, and it's not just what's happening right now is the correct one. You know, this is a big problem across the world, mostly in the West. People's weights are ballooning, and not talking about it is not going to help it. That's for sure. And so just the fact that we're having a discussion about this, I mean, some of the discussion is a little bit immature and people are calling names and getting personal, which I'm not going to do, but having a mature conversation about a problem that is so vast and such a big problem, I think is healthy. We might not be able to agree on it, and that is fine. There are many different issues that I don't agree with many different people. I don't agree with my own bloody brother on many issues, and that's fine. You know, we don't have to find common ground, but I think airing some of the differences is good, especially if you're in the industry like me, health, and I have a bit of an understanding, a bit of a background on it, and also fitness as well. I tend to believe that I have a bit of knowledge about keeping healthy and fit and strong. And so combine those two things, it is very difficult for me to not say anything. Everything that I said is what I really mean, is truthful, and that's what I believe is the solution. Is it the right solution or not? I'm not sure. We all have an opinion. But this is all part of the healthy discourse, I think. Jordan says, what's the current squat PR? I was following back in 23. Haven't been keeping as much as of late. The latest squat PR is 215, bench is 155, deadlift is 285. That's where I'm at the moment. Hammerhead says, how are you gonna blame minorities for people being fat? How are you gonna blame minorities for people being fat? Oh, you literally said that, lol. Hammer, are you talking to me or I'm a bit lost by that? What do you mean by that? Audio good on my end. Nice, Miz. Beautiful. World's strongest RN. I don't think so, man. I'm sure there's stronger people out there for sure. Ooh, I didn't bring my bottle of water. Hold on. I'm gonna miss that water. Sofia, daj na toš mi vode, molim te. Boys, give me a sec, I'll be back. Let me just get the water. All right, let's see if I can get another set here of 20. Going a little bit more narrow this time. See how it feels. So a bit more narrow than the flat. That's two. This is a lot better going narrow, obviously. Jordan, is he Serb? Yes, I am Serb. Jordan says, Serbia, not Siberia. Dobar dan, Ivan. Serbia is a wonderful country. I got to visit Novi Sad. Belgrade and Niš 2 years ago. Beautiful country and beautiful people. Jordan, then you probably have a better understanding than me. I haven't been back in a long time. Long time. It's been almost 30 years since I've been back. I left as a kid and I haven't been back since. I'd love to go back one day, that's for sure. But you can imagine that after 25 years, things change, everything changes. It's a lot of time that has gone by, but I'm glad that you had a positive experience. That's excellent. You know, when I left, it was a mess. War screwed everything up and essentially killed the country that I once loved. And that country was Yugoslavia. And now it's all split up, and I imagine it's not what it used to be. But it is what it is. Such is life. Really intrigued to see how the flat is going to feel after this. I'm probably going to be very weak on the flat, which is fine because I'm already weak anyway. But let's mess around with that a little bit. Get a bit of volume in the incline and do my normal. Actually, no, because I've warmed up, I might not need to do flat warm up the barbell for 3 sets of 30 reps. I won't have to do that. I'll just do 1 set of 20 and then go to 60, then go to 100 and just take it from there. Alrighty. Oh, 3 sets like it's nothing. Much, much better. Whew. Thanks for what you're doing, for doing what you do, Ivan. Hey, appreciate it. Naramore, means a lot, man. Thank you, man. I'm not really doing anything that I don't love. I'm just sharing a passion, sharing a journey. And seems like there's a lot of us out there pretty much doing the same thing. Maybe not every day like I am, but there's a lot of us who love to train for the sake of training, self-improvement, physical health and conditioning. You know, it's nice. It's nice to see so many people out there like that. Miz says, Ivan, now that you're in the public eye, anything you say about fat shaming will be controversial. It comes with the territory. Miz, I think the title of that video, fat shaming, like if you watch the length of that video, and hopefully you did, and hopefully people do watch the video to its full length, the topic is called fat shaming, but I don't believe in fat shaming. What I really believe in or against is fat acceptance. I think shaming, fat shaming as a term, maybe people are going to label me as a fat shamer. Whatever, man. Whatever people feel comfortable with, let them do that. People form their opinions regardless of what you say. But very much I am at war with the obesity and morbid obesity epidemic. And I'll do my best to discourage people from going down that path, and I will not be an inert gas in this space. I will very much be a reactive gas, and I will try and get people off that couch. If anything, this Squat Everyday Journey is an example of what people could be doing. I'm not saying that you stop people at the street and you laugh at them. That word shaming is probably the wrong term, but I'm probably going to get labeled by it, whatever helps people sleep at night. And I know what sort of place the internet is as a space. But for most people that are not commenting and listening and understanding what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to convey, hopefully people understand that it's coming from a good place. I'm not trying to harm anybody. But this idea of fat acceptance, I find absolutely revolting and disgusting. And the whole idea of, health can be at any shape, at any weight, It is so damaging, and this is what I'm at war with. If somebody is morbidly obese and you see somebody eating unhealthy food, there is a way to convey a message across without shaming them. Simply opening up a discourse with them to say you're on the wrong track, you're on path. There is a way. Everything is in the approach. But when you say fat shaming, it seems as though that you are bullying and belittling somebody. No, that's not the approach that I would have, and nor have I ever had that approach. It's not about bullying somebody. It's just making somebody fully aware and constantly being accountable for their actions. And if you can kind of help them on that journey, it's going to be for their benefit. And as we all know, we become our environment. If you see an individual on the street or out of your immediate circle that is in that shape, you need to understand that that person might be in an environment where everyone is that shape. If you think about it, 2/3 of the Western world is that shape. And so the chances of them being surrounded by everyone in that shape is very high. And so they're going to get negative feedback loops constantly by being in that environment. And if you can be a 5, 10, 15 second or 2, 10-minute period of some sort of positive encouragement in the correct direction, so be it. I think that is a very noble thing to do. Obviously, approach is everything. Like I said in yesterday's video, everything's in the approach. It's the way you approach things like this. But to sit here, like the masses have sat there and said, no, it is okay for you to be obese. That, to me, it is filthy. It is absolutely disgusting. And that would be akin to somebody saying to somebody, yeah, absolutely, it's okay to smoke. Why isn't it okay to smoke? We should make smoking socially unacceptable. Society should reject everyone that's smoking. You cannot smoke. It is unhealthy for you. And if everyone around that individual is constantly fighting that battle, eventually we might win. And smoking and being morbidly obese and having an unhealthy life is the same thing, dude. Everything leads to a really high comorbidity and early mortality. So since when is fat different to smoking? When is it different to any other unhealthy habit? But there's a community out there, a massive community out there who are constantly saying, no, I'm big boned. Really? You are big boned. So it's okay for you to be a BMI of 50. It's okay for you to be 160 centimeters and weigh 150 kilos. That is not okay. No way in society or biology has that ever been okay. And if you are in somebody's life like that, who is supporting them in being that healthy, then you're part of the problem. And these people in the comments who in yesterday's video, who are being outraged by my words, further reinforces this problem. You are being feeders, essentially, by not speaking up. Now, I'm not saying you bully them or you shame them, but there is a way of approaching an individual like this. But people don't want to hear it, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Everyone around me, probably because of these videos, are going to be well aware that I put being morbidly obese and smoking in the same bucket. And I'm not apologetic about that at all. Sharing is the important part, especially with platform. Most can only influence their immediate circle. Joseph, almost midnight over there, Joseph. I might be misremembering, but didn't you have an Aristotle cloak inscribed above your squat rack back in the day? Yes, absolutely, Jordan. It's still there. I can read it to you right now. It says, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act but a habit." Aristotle. That to me still is the most favorite quote of all time for me, and I so much so look at it every single day when I get in here. Hey man, good to see you. Hey Richamp Reed, Hawaii man. Narimo says, also in a sea of Americans, it too a Serb to pronounce my name last correctly. There you go. Miz says, agree with you. All the points, being fat is unhealthy and that can lead to early grave. Pointing it out is needed. If they have a problem about it, then that have problems. Yeah, I sacrifice a lot of strength to get my body in a healthy state. Absolutely. Low to high, that's amazing. Well done. It's just not worth it. Absolutely not. Hey, Ivan, hope you're doing well. Watched your video the other day, and I must admit it had a profound impact on the philosophy that oriented my life around. David, that is amazing for me to hear, so thank you. Thank you, man. Why do you want only sit now? I don't understand, Vacuum, what you're saying. That's from the Nicomachean Ethics. Great book and great quote. Oh, there you go, Jordan. I did not know that. I did not know that. Awesome. Nicomachean. I don't know how to say it. Nicomachean. Is that how you say it? Hancock, hey Van, what's up, man? David, wait, you know, sitting in the new smoking? Sitting is the new smoking. Yes, I also know that as well, without a doubt. That's also very, very bad. Wait, did you get a chance to check out the wrist roller attachment from Bells of Steel? Yes, I did, Reed. I had a look at it. Very, very interesting. It's that thing. Yeah, I saw it. I saw another attachment. I don't know where I saw it, which website, but it was like a pronator, supinator. That also looks epic to me. I'd love to have that. So a couple of those attachments, like, would be awesome to work the wrists. Wow, okay. That's 4 sets, like it's nothing. So the flat bench really takes away from the incline. Hopefully the incline doesn't take away from the flat, but probably that's going to be the chance that it is. I'm going to head to bed, but just wanted to stop in. Hope you have a nice one, brother. Hey, Reed, you have a good night, man. Sleep well. Catch you next time, man. Pragmatic Duck says, brother, as a father of 2, another on the way, I'm finding myself in a minority of people my age and the way we parent. Yeah, parenting is one of those things that really, if anything, it calls to action. Because, when you have a child, man, you start to really realize how much you love that child and how much that child means more than you mean to yourself. And so then even if you're a meek individual and you're shy and you'd rather not fight on opinions and all that stuff, you find yourself slowly coming out of the shell because you need to protect your child, and your child is part of a community, and that community has an impact on your child. And so all of a sudden you become a little bit more vocal, and that's kind of what happened with me. For a long, long time, I just kept to myself and focused on my own journey and my family's journey and what I controlled within inside my home. But then you start to realize that the impact of the community on that child is also profound. And so then you start to kind of look outside your walls, and then you start to listen, think, and essentially respond to some of the issues of the community. And you find yourself being a bit more active, interested, because you have an investment in this community. And then you start to see other kids. And then you find yourself coaching a school basketball team, maybe soon a district basketball team. And then you start to kind of spread positivity because you think to yourself, if I can impact my child, that's going to be obviously automatic. But if I can impact the team, the basketball team, and the basketball, the club, and then you start to kind of have more of an impact on your child and that child's immediate community. Obviously, you're just a little speck of dust of influence in all of this, but at least you kind of, what do they say? You become the change you want to see. And that's becoming more mature. One of my favorite thoughts is this, and this is the ultimate checker, anything that we're talking about, just think to yourself, what if everybody on the planet did what this is doing? Let's say if everyone did what the drug dealer did. if everyone in the world was a drug dealer, where would the world end up? It would be a very, very bad place. And so that is like an ultimate tester for yourself. Okay, let this person do whatever. Okay, well, let's see if it's ethical and moral. Okay, what if we just think to yourself, what if everyone did that? Well, then the world would get screwed over. And so that's how you work out if something is good or not. And I find myself thinking a lot about that. Richard says, hey Richard, how are you, man? Bro, I PR 275 and reverse grip bench today. Oh, sick, dude. Well done. Well done, Richard. Reverse bench is kind of funky when you first start doing it, but it feels amazing afterwards. The shoulders absolutely feel great when you're doing it. Miz says, Ivan, people just need to understand the implications of what they eat. Statistically, it's the poorest and least educated people who have the most unhealthy diets. And you just giving information is needed. I think so. Even if people get emotional about my opinion and get upset, at least it plants a seed and it opens up a conversation that they might have with somebody else in their life and just highlights this problem. And hopefully I drown some of the enemy, and which is, no, everyone is okay to be whatever size they want. You can be morbidly obese and be happy. And everyone's going to live to a perfect healthy age, even though they are 3 times the body weight they should be. Hopefully I drown some of that noise, because that noise literally is poisoning the population. And I don't really know where it's come from, but this body positivity crowd who are accepting one of the biggest risk factors for any disease today, they're kind of accepting that risk factor. Being obese is not good, man. And if that person hears that and be like, okay, I understand this is not good, let me try act on it, I will be the first to put my hand up to try and help you. I'm not the enemy, I'm part of the solution. I want to help. I don't want to make your life worse. And I want to make that very loud and clear. I'm not just throwing my opinion out. No, I'm part of the solution. The people who are facilitating you onto the same path and for you to continue down the obesity track, this is the enemy. This comfort that they are offering is the enemy. Hanok says it's 7 where I am at, and I'll be heading out soon. Hope you have a good day, man. Hey, Hanok, you too, man. Really appreciate it, dude. Have a good day. Pragmatic Duck says they scream at their parents, they yell, they stamp their feet, and the parents either pretend not to see it or laugh. I feel so disconnected, and yet these same people say I'm lucky my kids behave. Giving advice on parenting is one of the most difficult things because people are so emotional about their kids, rightly so. I think most people would agree when you become a parent, there's nothing more important in your life than that child. And so if you hear somebody from another side telling you that your methods of raising that child is wrong, it just hits close to home, very, very close, and people get very upset. So it is hard. It is hard to see, but it fits into the larger picture of where we are as a society and how we look at raising our children and how important we believe that is. And it's a cog in a much bigger system, unfortunately. I'm 190 pounds. When I first saw you, I was 158. Wow, you put on a stack of weight, Chris. And I know you can deadlift the hell out of it, so you've put in a lot of work. 270 times 9. Wow, Richard, you're a machine, man. I wonder what your, head to left shoulder. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If you have shoulder problems, man, the reverse bench is amazing for that. Absolutely amazing. It just really kind of makes it more clear that really just go where you can stack in a lot of volume. If whatever the position is, who cares what the experts say? Wherever you feel, whatever elbow positioning or wrist positioning, wherever you feel like you can put in a shit ton of volume without any pain or side effects, do that and do it a lot. Push the volume there. That's your path forward. That's 5 good sets. That's good. A regular bench hurt my left shoulders. Yep, farmer's diet is the best, Chris says. Richard, keep speaking your mind, Ivan. It's quite thought-provoking. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate it, man. And at the end of the day, even if what I get out of it is some constructive conversation, I'm happy with that, you know. As long as people see that I'm not just trolling, that is not what I'm doing here. I'm being very truthful, genuine in my opinions and my thoughts, and I'm not trolling. As long as you're not trolling and there is an adult conversation, discussion being had, I think it's beneficial. What do you consider obese, though? What do you consider unhealthy? Morbid obesity is obvious. You know when you see it. You don't need a scale. You don't need anything. As for which tool to use to work out if someone's in a healthy range, that can also be up for debate, especially in the special groups, in those side groups like we are, perhaps. I don't know about you, but people that train a lot, they, you know, have a lot of muscle. The scale is going to be quite high for them because muscle weighs more than fat. And so we might score really high on the BMI even though we are active. And muscle tissue is metabolically active tissue. Fat is not. And so the BMI as a tool has its limitations, but that's probably a good indicator, especially for the non-trained people. That's a really good indicator for BMI. If you're an athlete and you train a lot and you have a bit of muscle on, then it's a different conversation. But I think the BMI is a good start, at least. And there's not going to be hard, concrete rules, even though there are tools like the BMI. There's variations in the population and height and weight and stature and limb lengths, proportions, all of that. I think a good point of view, as if you're a male, is you need to understand that central obesity, like as in your gut, has a very high correlation with cardiovascular disease. And that is an undeniable truth. It's been replicated many times over in research. We know this for a fact. And so if you have a gut, regardless of what your BMI is, if you have a gut hanging out, you probably have a good amount of visceral fat within you, which is the really bad sort. So we don't need to kind of get into the, you know, measuring ruler and all that stuff. You know if you're overweight and you know you feel it. I'm not asking people to be athletes. That is not what I've said. But I think I don't know if you guys understand morbid obesity. Like morbid obesity is like you are extremely large and you have trouble like with basic activities of daily living, you know. You have trouble living, you know, and that is an extreme amount. And if you see the percentages, something like 40% of America is obese. Do you understand? Like that is millions and millions. That's like 100 million people, if not more. More than 100 million people. What is that, 350 million people in America? So like, yeah, damn near 150 million people. That is huge, you know. So, yeah, like you just know. What is individuals who orientate their life around short-term impulse hedonism? Orient their lives around short-term impulsive hedonism. I don't know, David. David, remind me of hedonism means. The term escapes me now. I can't think of it exactly. What does hedonism mean? Alejandro Menaco says, yo, bro, what's your advice of increasing bench? I've been doing upper-lower split and bench every other day. I feel stuck at 100. Alejandro, man, you just need to increase that frequency, man. Increase that volume through frequency. The bench increases like no other when it comes to frequency. So in terms of volume. So yeah, frequency and volume. Just start banging out more and you'll get there. I'll do a 7th set after this, and we'll hit the flat a little bit. Bench more, Chris. My experience, as long as recovered drug addict in post-hedonism will mess you up, bro. Bench more says, good. I'm closer behind you. I don't even know how you got so strong benching. At some point, you just blew past me. Richard, I think I'm way heavier than you, right? I'm a bit heavier than you, Richard. So, you know, you being really close to me means you're very, very strong, Richard. Vacuum says, I have a big gut and have been to the ER many times, and they said I was perfectly fine, so I'm confused. Well, I don't know who you spoke to in ER, but if people are telling you you're all right and you have a big gut, and I don't know what that means, but I'm trusting you, it's a big gut. That's not good, man. That's not good. Doc does DPT says, Ivan, during your time as an RN, have you had much success talking people down from smoking or overeating? Just wrapped up my physio degree, and that part of patient education felt impossible. There's a cardiologist where I work who is a professor. And when we have code STEMIs, which is basically a term to say heart attack, you know, an emergency situation heart attack where we need to take them to theatre to unblock the arteries. You know, that can happen 24/7, right? So the doctors come in at night as an emergency procedure. And there's one doctor in particular, one of the consultants, one of the professors, he comes in and he walks in and he says, hi, my name is da-da-da-da. And then he says, congratulations. And every single time he says that, I mean, people that have worked in the hospital, we know this, where this is leading to, but a lot of people are sitting in the bed, you know, waiting for their treatment. And when the doctor arrives, they're like, what do you mean, congratulations? What do you mean? And he says to them, congratulations on quitting smoking. And they're like, oh. So in his first line, first word, first sentence, he says to them, congratulations, you have quit smoking now. And every single time he says, smoking is one of the biggest risk factors of why you're in this bed right now, why you're fighting for your life. And so I personally haven't had a lot of success, but I've seen a lot of success around me. There's nothing like death to scare the shit out of you. There's nothing like a close call with death that scares the shit out of you. And so a lot of these people become all of a sudden health enthusiasts because they almost ended up dying. And so some people need a really big shock and a really rude awakening to take an action. That's a big call to action, right? Not everyone has that, you know, luck. Some people never see the doctor, they die beforehand. It just depends on your luck, right? Some people don't have any warning signs, they just drop dead. And so people like me and my colleagues in the emergency department, we have a really close relationship with the thought of obesity and smoking and drug use and whatever. You need to understand that I'm surrounded by this all the time, and I see this every single day. So if I come across really, really harsh when it comes to obesity, you need to understand that I'm in this industry, dude. I'm in an emergency room RN. You know, I'm a CN in the resus room. I see this shit. And a lot of these people who are in the comments who are raging back against me, they have no experience about this stuff. No experience. So before you start to claim like you're an omni freaking power in this sphere and you have this sociology degree, bro, I invite you to do nursing or to do medicine and come into the resus room. I guarantee you will change your opinion on your stance. Put a couple of people in body bags and you tell me if you're not going to have a more serious conversation and think about your opinions when it comes to morbid obesity or being overweight. And then you see some hotshot online or on TV saying how body positivity, plus size models, make sure everyone is happy no matter what their size is. Really now? Motherfucker, you have lost your damn mind. You have lost your damn mind. You don't have the education. I don't care which papers you have read. Come into the emergency room and help me put somebody in a body bag and you tell me how you feel about it. It's a different thing. But everyone has an opinion, right? And I'm going to get a lot of heat for some of these things, some of these videos that I pop out. I am more than happy to wear some of that heat, dude, because I come from a good place. I've seen where these people are going to end up, weighing 160 kilos at 6 feet tall, telling me something about body positivity. Yeah, your body's going to look freaking great in that body bag. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, man? And sometimes, like I say all the time, we talk about it in the emergency room. You know, when kids go crazy with cars and they do street racing, all this shit, I wish. And there is a program actually in Adelaide here where we take year 11 and year 12 students and we take them through some of these places through emergency, and they get a little bit of exposure on what it looks like for trauma to come into an emergency department. They see what it looks like when people have car accidents, when they have traumatic injuries. Oh, really now? So now you understand how dangerous speed is in a vehicle. Now you understand how dangerous it is not to have a seatbelt on. Oh, now you understand. And so now you change your habit. Well, see, these same people that are protecting body positivity come in to the cardiology suite, come into the cath lab and see what it looks like to unplug somebody's arteries. And then see in the emergency room the many times we failed to resuscitate somebody. And now you tell me you were going to walk out and tell your brother or sister, yeah, darling, it's okay for you to be 3 times the body weight that you should be. My friend, you will change your opinion. I come from an educated background. Like, I've seen this. Like, I live this. And so it's not what you think it is, dude. It's not what you think it is. And even though people are going to come and you know, say that I am being rude or a bully or I'm body shaming, whatever. Dude, just come with me to the research room and you'll see. And then tell me you're not going to agree with me. My freaking ass, you're not going to agree with me. Oi, that's good. All right, that portion is done. That portion is done, fellas. Now, let's do the other portion. It's especially people who esteem pleasure as the highest value in life. Rev that out, man. Thank you, Chris. Good set. Thanks, Chris. You're 195 pounds. Ooh, I don't know what I am. 104 kilos now. So I'm over 225. Christopher Seed, you sound like you've got long arms. You must not be built well for it. Any pro tips for severe cramps? I've never really suffered with cramps, man. Other than keeping warm in cold environments, wearing the right shoes so you don't cramp in your feet. That's all I got. And then obviously, you know, the electrolyte business and the rest of it. Hydration. Where are we? If you're overweight obese, your wake up call is in the mail. If you feel okay now, imagine how great you could feel. Best of luck, vacuum. Get on top of it. Wish you all the best. Yeah, pragmatic duck. Absolutely well said. All the best, vacuum. And sounds like you have the right mentality and you're open up for discussion, which is halfway there to the solution. Me says, unfortunately, the government won't even come out and say, stop being fat and lose weight for your own good. Depression plays a big part, I suspect. Treat the reason for then fix the weight. Yeah, it's a mental thing. But you know what? What's really good for depression? The same thing that's for obesity. Depression hates a moving target. Depression hates a moving target. Obesity hates a moving target. So it's simply just by moving more, you're gonna go on your way to fix both of those problems. You're not going to have an effect on people's weight habits unless you're skillful general practitioner, cardiologist, etc. They see often. People aren't going to listen to a nurse they will see once. That's probably true, Hammerhead. Probably, you're right. You're right. I guess the more credibility you have in the industry, the heavier the words are that you can employ. And as a nurse, you're probably not going to have that weight, probably, absolutely. You don't see it more than I do. I work at McDonald's. David. Yeah. I guess people at McDonald's that you see, they're quite happy to be eating all that stuff, whereas the people that I see on my end are generally not happy to come to emergency. All right, let's see how this is going to feel now. Probably not very good. Probably. I'm going to have a bit of a drink. Oh. Let's see what I can do with the flat. I'm really interested to see how it feels. It's probably going to feel terrible. Damn it. All right. Let's get after it. Oh. Actually, what I'll do is I'll do 3 sets here just to warm up the shoulders. With incline, you can just literally come in and sit down and start repping with decline, well, basically decline with this flat. With flat bench, you can't really do that. You have to warm up the bloody shoulders. Otherwise, you bloody do something to do one of the shoulders. All right. I'll do another one after that to warm everything up. Richard says, I think addiction is like obesity. I needed multiple emergency level intervention and consequences to stop. I have a lot of experience from the patient side of this discussion. I was killing myself. There you go. And now I'm fit, strong, healthy, and I wish people knew how much they would love being fit and healthy. Obese people, mentally ill people, the addicts, you name it, everyone could benefit. But trying to convince people they need a better life is so challenging. I remember hearing this from nurses, doctors, and I really believed their words, but it took years for me to correct. Richard, I've said this to you before. I think the place you've come from, it takes a lot of courage, a lot of strength, man. A lot of people don't have that strength and just sink further and further into that addiction, into that darkness. It is very hard to drag yourself out of that, from what I see from people that I've dealt with. I've never dealt with anything like that, obviously. But I know from people, seeing the same people for years and years and years, heroin addicts, meth addicts, all that stuff, and you can see the worsening condition of some of these people, visit by visit, presentation by presentation. It's very shocking. Ivan, you are correct. It's so normalized, it really doesn't help anyone other than people's feelings. Yeah, well said. I came for the squats, but I got incline bench press. Drew, hey man, how are you? Michael Bull says, hey Ivan, man, as a resus nurse, I'd say your views carry more sense and gravitas than any politicians. Tell the vote chasers to do your job for they. You're a true hero, man, and deserve 100% respect. Thank you, Michael. Very kind words, man. Thank you so much. Ivan, I agree with you, man. People need to hear it. It may not correct their behavior, but it's a piece of the puzzle. This is life or death and well-being. not the color or paint of a car or something. That's right. That's a ballsy cardiologist, but definitely agree on fear being a motivator. Too bad the wake-up call comes too late. And this cardiologist is not just any old cardiologist. He's like very, very well respected. And he's a very much a no-nonsense type of guy. Basically, the people that he deals with in these emergency call-outs, these people would die 100% without his intervention. And so, you know, he will outline the reason what for this is these are the risk factors that led to this. This doesn't happen because something fell out of the sky and hit you in the head. There's a lot of control that you have over these things. Of course, there is a genetic component to it as well, and that's very well outlined in the literature. But a lot of this stuff is also nurture. It's not all nature. And so he makes sure that he makes the people understand that sucking down 1,000+ freaking cigarettes a month or a year, whatever the hell it is absolutely destroying the system. And so he makes sure to point that out. Ken says, trying to explain to the average American obese person that what a calorie even is drives me insane. Everyone has magic thyroid conditions that allow them to break the laws of thermodynamics. Oh, Ken, man, you're making me laugh. Yeah, breaking the laws of physics, eh? David says, lol, are these Jordans 4 breads? They are Jordans. I don't really know which Jordans they are, but they're Jordans. In the past, you've said you struggle sometimes with appetite and getting enough calories. How are you doing with that now? Better? When I'm sick, you know, I don't eat. You know, I am one of those people that if I stop training hard, my appetite disappears. Like appetite is my driving factor, being driven by the training. So I am very much a skinny kid without training. So if I do a lot of this work, appetite comes. Simple as that. All right. All right. Let's put some weight on now. How would you convince a hardcore atheist, nihilist about why obesity is a problem? Oh God. I don't know, dude. I don't know. So somebody that doesn't believe in God or everything is pointless and everyone's going to die. I'll probably focus more on quality of life. Sure, no worries. You don't believe in life after death. You don't believe in anything after that. Everyone's going to die. No worries. But do you want to be paralyzed, bedbound after you have a stroke? That is not a good existence. I'll probably talk to them about this life then, focus on this life. Sure, no worries. Do whatever you want. Do all the drugs, eat all the food, smoke all the smokes. That's fine. But what if you end up dropping down and having a massive stroke and you can't even get up to toilet yourself or eat food, or you can't move your arms? That is a living hell. And so there are steps we take to prevent some of those things, and starting with healthy nutrition and movement is where you start. And so some people might be like not responsive to some of that spiritual stuff, but I'm sure they don't want to live a life of hell on earth. Hey Ivan, what are your thoughts on pornography, lust, loyalty for men in today's time, particularly in the West? Murke. Oh, dude. It's massive. Pornography is so readily available. I'm not going to sit here to say that I've never watched pornography. Absolutely. It was part of growing up as a kid. it's a heavy topic, right? Because if the pornography becomes, it starts to change behavior of young men, how they view the world and how they view women, that is a terrible, terrible thing. If the expectation is your girlfriend, your wife, your partner, that they need to be like the people on the screen they see, that is a problem. That is not love. That is an art. That is not how normal relationships go. So in an immature person's hand, it can be very destructive. Can we stop pornography? Absolutely not. You can't stop it without ending up as some sort of a police state with no freedom of population and whatnot. But I think education is probably the answer to a lot of this stuff. Obviously not at the primary school level where kids are like too young and you're teaching them about gender and all this stuff. There's probably a right time to do this. I'm not sure exactly when that is. But education is probably the way to go about all of this. And I think a lot of this stuff should come from basically inside your home. Fathers should be teaching their sons what the world is, and daughters should be listening to their mothers. It shouldn't be relied upon by the state or the school for a lot of this stuff. But obviously, as the family model has deteriorated over the last couple of decades, there needs to be a need to rely on the state to teach some of these fundamental things. But yeah, it's out of hand at the moment, obviously. OnlyFans is just ruining the world, ruining, I feel like mostly, girls, because men drive the majority of the audience. Men are mostly the consumers, I imagine. I mean, I don't have any stats in front of me to think about it, but I can only imagine, they make up the majority of the customers. So I don't know. It's a big problem, but like I said to you before, I think the problem is arising from a different thing. I think that's not the cause for pornography and OnlyFans and prostitution, all the rest of it. I think the world as a whole has lost a lot since religion has started to decrease on all fronts. God has left the conversation in a lot of people's lives, and because of that, people are lost and people are running around like headless chooks. I'm not here to say that religion was perfect. Religion has a lot of blood on their hands as well, a lot of blood. I mean, I come from Yugoslavia, a hot pot, multiple ethnicities, religions, but people got along for a long, long period of time, and then eventually the politicians got involved and external interests got involved and everything fell apart. But religion was kind of one of the things that they used to their advantage to cause unrest. And so religion it's great, but people, especially people in power with ill goals in their mind, they tend to mobilize and militarize religion. And that has happened many, many times in history. And so that's why I say religion is not, the perfect way. And that's why I always say, I'm not a big fan of religion, but I'm a big fan of God. I believe in God. I'm very spiritual. But I don't like a lot of these institutions. They use God as a selling point, but really there is monetary, political power that's underpinning a lot of this stuff. So yeah, I'm conflicted by that, and I've wrestled with some of these thoughts for a very long time. But really, as we've seen God's popularity in the general populace decrease, a lot of these degenerative behaviors have popped up and now are front and center. And that's the sad thing, They once used to be like this thought, okay, my parents can't see me right now, doing this ill behavior. But in the past, you used to say, well, God can see me, so I shouldn't do this. Even though nobody's around me and I'm about to do this evil thing or this wrong thing, God is always seeing me and judging me. But now we don't have that in our lives, and so we just do crazy stuff. And the West especially is really decaying from within. And it's going to be the fall of the West, I think, when the populace is so degenerative and so lustful and just completely consumed by pleasure and comfort. These are not very good signs. But a lot of this obviously is driven by capitalism and the way the structures are set up. I don't know. Like, I don't have answers to all of this stuff, but like, you know, as somebody like probably you're sitting there, you're viewing some of these things and you're like, things are not going in the right direction. What the solution is, I'm not sure. Maybe more discussions like we're having now. All right, let's see what I can do with the bench now. Worse and worse by the day. Oh. You're modeling this issue from your experience. I'm just trying to add my experience to what you've got so far. Maybe it will somehow useful, maybe not. But that's my attention line. Yeah. I always said to you, I appreciate hearing the experiences from somebody like yourself, because you've traveled the hard road to recovery, and it's a beautiful thing to me, dude. It really is. Success story. Do you have any thoughts on the reports recently in Australia about rising cancer rates in younger population, microplastics, poor diet, vaccine issues? I don't really particularly know what rates you're talking about, but I know cancer rates are on the increase. And it's probably multifactorial, man. I don't really know what's causing it. I don't really know. But something clearly is wrong. What's going on, I'm not sure. That's $1 million question there, man. My family worked in that industry. They weren't bad people, but something tragic happened to them. Some of the people cared for me. Oh, Christopher, your family worked in the porn industry? Oh, goodness. I just saw your wife in the window. Does she support your daily workout regimen 100%? Does she sometimes think it's a bit excessive? No, man, she's always been supportive, man. But, you know, I've said this story in the past. This is going to help. She met me and I was crazy about training, so nothing's changed in her eyes. I haven't just sprung this up out of nowhere. When she met me, I was crazy about basketball, training all the time as well. So nothing has changed in her eyes. This is just a continuation. So she's always been supportive. Sometimes she joins me, although she hasn't recently. She loves the gym. She loves this space. We're all very proud of the life we live and what we've created. I'm a very lucky man to have her in my life, and what we've created is absolutely beautiful. I'm a very, very happy chappy, as they say in Australia. You're about 3 hours earlier today. Yeah, I know. I mentioned it last night that I was going to be earlier today. Got a bit on today. Dale Boyd says, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer about 5 weeks ago. I actually be having it removed along with lymph nodes on the 31st of the 7th at the QEH. Oh, Dale. Damn, man. That is no good. Thyroid cancer. There you go, Dale. I'm very sorry to hear about that, dude. Oh, goodness. What were the symptoms, Dale? What happened? Oh, let me do a set here. Oh. 12 this time. Even worse. So that incline definitely took everything out of me. That's all right. Change it up a little bit. Should be okay. Do you ever still do low bar squats? I only keep up every month or so. Do I do low bar squats? No, not at the moment. It's not in mix. How do I get this? All right. I was doing a self-check and found a lump on my right-hand side of the neck. Oh, damn. Oh, that sucks, Dale. Well, I guess from now on, have that surgery, get it all sorted, and see what the doctors have to say and get it all sorted. It's unfortunate. What's causing all this stuff? I've got no idea, man. No idea. Bloody hell, man. Young people shouldn't be getting sick like that. But we see it all the time in emergency. We see it all the time, this stuff. It's terrible. Alrighty. A little bit more on the bench. I'll do 2 more sets. Even though I'm absolutely spent right now. I've got nothing left. Nothing left to offer here. But that's 8, 12, 8, 6 probably. Let's see what the next set is. Oh man. So bench definitely takes half away from this. Incline bench. Oh man. Oh. All right. My chest is all pumped up. I feel like when you do incline, it's more arms. I feel it a lot in my shoulders and my triceps. What are your experience with knee pain? Have you had certain cold movements remove this pain? I haven't had any knee pain at all. I'm a big believer that if you do ATG squats, you're not going to have a lot of pain. I think anything above ATG puts more strain on the knee. Just the way the physics are, and where you reverse the motion from down motion to up motion, that reversal of direction of the bar. If you do that with parallel squats, it's all in the knee. When you sit down all the way down to your calves, a lot of that pressure gets removed away from the knee. And there's a bit of a bounce there. I think all of that is healthy. Good luck with your surgery, man. If they mention they'd be removing lymph nodes, try and ask your surgeon about resources for lymphedema. Pop up in my last placement. I'm 36. Damn, did you get the C shot? If so, how many? DJ, what do you think the hormones and steroids in our foods contribute to health problems? Do you know anyone that uses CPAP? I did a sleep study and get diagnosed with severe sleep apnea. Yeah, it's something like, I think I heard something like 1/4 of all people should be on CPAP. Sleep apnea is a silent killer, and 1/4 of us should be on CPAP. And then if you link that up with 2/3 of the populace being morbidly obese, you probably start to see some of these links. You know, as I've said in my previous rants, you know, obesity is real bad, man. It's a metabolic condition, and sleep apnea is more prevalent in larger people. There's just no way around it. Do you know anyone that uses CPAP? Yeah, Chris, had 3 in total, not ever having another one. Yeah, there you go. Dale, you know. Yeah, Dale, that's right. It fixes the issue, but not the cause. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good that you're using it, man, because you know a lot of us have like, you know, we stop breathing during the night, and that hypoxic period with no oxygen, we become hypoxic, and there's a lot of damage. There's just your brain. There's links like dementia and all sorts of stuff, man. You're basically just starving yourself of oxygen many times overnight, and so you wake up feeling like you're buggered, like you ran a bloody marathon. And so it's like a downward spiral. Like it just gets worse and worse and worse, and it consumes you. Eventually, life is hard, sleeping is hard, and then the next day becomes hard, and it's just worse and worse. Oh, man. All right, I'm done with that. Let's warm up for squats now. And that's all right. Let's warm up for good old squats. Oh, man. Dale, are you over healthy BMI? Can I blast train? Can I blast train? I'm sorry, wrong word. Can I blast train into my... Richard, no, bro, I'm sitting at just over 200 kilos and BMI is about 70. I'm in the process of losing weight, especially after the cancer surgery. I was 260 kilos. Holy crap, Dale, you were 260? Wow, man. That is a lot of weight, dude. Wow, Dale. That's a long journey, man. Wow. Dale, man, after this surgery, dude, I wish you nothing but the best of luck to lose that weight, to get back on that healthy trend, man. It's gonna be hard, man. It's gonna be a tough journey, but you have to do it, man. It's life and death. You know, you said you're 200 kilos right now. So you've lost 60. You've lost 60 kilos, man. That is humongous. I can't even imagine what it feels like to lose 60 kilos. So, you know, you've got the method, man. Like, if you just repeat that process over and over again, I mean, technically speaking, you should be able to go back all the way down to 90 kilos or whatever, 100 kilos. You know, that's amazing. All right, GX. GX, either you behave, and Red, you behave, I'm kicking you guys off. Like, there's no place for this shit in this chat, man. Either you guys clean it up or I'm booting both of you off. Well, in the process. Richard says, build those habits to lose. Keep going, modify it, needed, but well done. That's it. Ivan is using a cheese grater to shred fat. Is it optimal? I've listened to some medical practitioners discuss Ozempic, and while I'm not very knowledgeable, I've heard bad things. All right. This is the state of the internet. We're having a serious conversation about a fella here dealing with a serious problem, and then you have these immature folk that come in here, and I don't even know if they have any maturity about them, but they start ruining the conversation. Dale, I'm sorry. Richard, I'm so sorry. I understand we're talking about something very serious here, and these bloody idiots coming in here and doing stupid things. Actually, here, Richard. Medical practitioners discuss Ozempic, and while I'm not very knowledgeable, I've heard bad things. Well, these are some medical professionals. Uses Ozempic for diabetes. Yeah, so what I've heard about Ozempic as well, I mean, a lot of people are on it right now around the world. But what I've heard, Dale, is that it is not just a fat loss method, but it's a weight loss method, which means it doesn't just make you lose fat, it makes you lose everything. So bone tissue, muscle tissue, fat tissue. And I've seen some talk about people having like osteoporosis after a few years of Ozempic. Like literally their bones become less dense. And so, you know, if you're in that age where, you know, with women that are around menopause, perimenopause, you know, there's a lot of hormonal imbalances there as well. And we know post-menopausal women have a high incidence of you know, bone degradation. And so you throw Ozempic into the mix as well, and then it becomes a real problem. Probably less of a factor for you. Obviously, you're a young man. But it's a very large drug, and it attacks multiple systems. So it is very effective for weight loss, but there's a lot of side effects from what I understand. Ali says, I haven't seen your content in ages. Since when do you get outside gym? Lucky Son of a Bitch, hope all is well. I'm all well, Ali. How are you, man? This is only very recently. I went to an auction and I won some of this stuff for a fraction of the price. So I'm very, very lucky indeed. I can't remember the details. It was someone in the field, I believe, being interviewed on the Hodge podcast. I skipped over it quickly thinking to myself, I won't be trying this anyways. Pavlinkov says, hey Ivan, can I ask how much time before work you eat and what's your opinion about fasting? I'm a huge advocate for fasting. I fast all the time, man, around shift work, around nights and whatever. I often go 12 plus hours without food. I think it's one of the most healthiest things you can do, just simply fast. Just stop the gastrointestinal system working, let it rest. And in that extended rest, you tend to start to repair. You start to attack some of these tissues that are misbehaving. Cancer cells, the T cells become proliferate, and they start to like really attack some of these old cells in the body. So fasting is like a natural reset. And in the world that we live in, a lot of people don't go damn hour without putting something in their mouth. So extended periods of fasting, especially around that 16-hour mark, that's when we see insulin really plummet to next to nothing in the bloodstream. And then you see, when that happens, you see the glucagon starts to kind of get released. Process autophagy, which is basically self-eating, which essentially means the immune cells start to attack and eat old, dusty, crappy behaving cells in the body that are kind of at the end of their life. They start to consume them for food, essentially. And so it's like a healing renewal process stimulated by essentially not eating anything. So it's an amazing process. I'm a big fan. Thank you, Ali. Appreciate it, dude. Mark Lewis on YouTube has some really good insight on how it made him feel and his thoughts on it. I reckon for people who are 200 kilos, it has a place. These people on the brink and need to lose those kgs ASAP. For those who are slightly overweight, I'm not sure. Need more long-term data. Pragmatic duck, I think that's well put. You know, I think if you're in that morbid obesity stage, I think there's definitely some uses for Ozempic because you know it's the pros and cons. You know, it is much more worse to be morbidly obese than it is to it's like the side effect balance. The side effects of Ozempic are probably less severe than the side effects of morbid obesity. We have to suss those guys out. A doctor explained that it slowed down gut movement, so you feel full longer. Some people might just get constipated, etc. Oh, interesting, doc. Alrighty, let's get squatting. For some reason, there's been an influx of trolls. I don't know what the hell is going on. All these people have rocked up to just make life harder. All right. Oh man. Whew. Thoughts on Copenhagen planks? I have no need for them now with the machines, but I guess they're good. I tried it a few times. I never really liked the feeling. Very small range of motion, and so I never really fell in love with it. These kids haven't yet learned to get involved, not appreciate an intelligent conversation. Give it 5-10 years. You will eventually catch on. You also eventually ditch the goofball stuff. Yeah, Richard, well said. Absolutely. Are they trolls or bots? I can't tell anymore. Yeah, I don't know anymore either, to be honest with you. I don't really know what's going on. Sometimes there's like a rush of them, and they come in and it's just, you gotta spend time cleaning it all up. My grapes are... That's right. People, yeah, that's right. He's a proud unk as well. Hey brother, you sound like you're from Australia like me. I might be wrong. Keep up the good fight. Got to teach these kids how to be. Kowalski, yeah, I am. I'm from Adelaide, my friend. Where are you from? Canberra, brother. Hey, nice. Beautiful. Never been to Canberra myself, man. Hey, Van, what do you think are implications of AI in biomedical field? Oh, dude, endless. I think that's the future, man. There's a lot of AI now. Maybe not in Australia, but around the world I've heard, AI, taking over cardiology, taking over gastroenterology, taking over radiography. Your normal brain can't process the same amount of information as AI can, and so we're gonna get our done for sure. Hey Ivan, do you do any bicep work, curls, or cable work at all? Is there much crossover to other lifts live, or is it just for minor? No, biceps are huge, man. Pragmatic duck. Biceps are critical in everything you do. Just carrying I'm not sure if you're a father or yet, but carrying a child around, like my biceps get bloody blown out. It's hard. Like anything you carry, biceps. So it's very much should be trained. I'm not a big on biceps. I should be, but I'm one of those people that when I roll, when I pull up, my biceps take over in all these movements. So I tend to not chase them. My biggest thing is my back. I want to get my back stronger. The biceps get passive work through pull-ups and rows all the time. But traditional curls, I'm not big on it, to be honest with you, man. It doesn't really get me that excited. All right, 140, 60. Richard, good night, my man. I'll catch you in the next one, eh? Appreciate you, man. Yeah, stay in Adelaide. Yeah, Canberra must be even colder than Adelaide. Well, I feel like I'm cold in Adelaide right now. I couldn't imagine Canberra. It's even lower down there. Yeah, Dale, that's right. Exactly spot on. How much time before you eat, and do you prefer some kind of foods before workout? No, I don't have any preferences about food, man. Whatever I've got going, I'll eat it. I love eggs in the mornings. Just depends, man. I'm not a big foodie anyway. I love to eat, but I'm not picky, you know. And David says, trying to figure out what you are doing. Squat every day, bench every day, row and back, work once or twice a week. David, since the sickness, it's all over the place, but I'm squatting every day. That's, a given. I'm benching, before the sickness, I was benching like 5 times a week. Now this has suffered majorly. I'm really not having a good time with that at the moment. So yeah, there's that. And then I am doing some sort of hip work, adductor work every day as warm up. And then eventually one of those days it will be a heavy abductor day. I'm throwing inclines in on occasional bench press days, but it's all up in the air right now because I'm not feeling the greatest. The sickness has taken at least 20% off, if not more, of my strength. I lost a whole stack of weight. I don't feel the greatest, so it'll take another week or so for me to get back to the groove, and then I'll reassess. But the winter's going to be predominantly bench press focused, so I'm going to try and stick most of my recoverable points into bench, and then we'll go from there. And around October, I want to say September, October, I'm going to start to bench a whole lot. So I've got another month or so of this bench business. Hopefully by then I can get to 100 kilos for 30 reps, and then hopefully then 160 will fall. If not, it is what it is. I'll move on and go into my squat bucket of training, and you'll see my training change again in focusing on the accessories and volume work on bench, squat. When that happens, the bench becomes what the squat is right now, which is a whole stack of singles, probably every day, just to say hi, keep it fresh, no volume at all. And then it just goes to circles. And then towards the end of the year, David, I'll go into my deadlift training bucket, which has its own host of exercises, including rows, lots of rows, barbell rows. I'll probably throw in some of that normal row, 45 incline row thing that I got. And yeah, it's always changing and swapping, but winter is usually bench. Well, right now I'm making it bench. So that's kind of what the plan is, man. All right, get to 180. I did my adductors pretty hard yesterday, so it only makes sense that my squat's going to feel a bit off today. Good morning from Taiwan, Ivan. Hello. Curls have always been my favorite, but that's mainly due to how many times throughout the week I can train them, 2 to 3 if I'm lucky, and my vascularity in my arms. There you go. And we all have our, strengths and focuses and whatever, man. We all have our own thing. Should everyone squat every day and focus on that? Absolutely not. There are bench only guys, so I respect them as well, whatever. To bench 4 plates is not a joke, man. It only makes sense that it takes a lot of bloody focus and energy. I've got a little one on the way, 2 more kids, but they're 5 and 3, so no huge pickup demands there. Time to get the biceps swollen, prep for the newborn. All good, man. Enjoy. Congratulations, by the way. Yeah. Amazing. Nothing like a big family. Do you check your testosterone? What was the result? I tested my testosterone on day 1000. So if you look up squat every day 1000, I do a whole blood test reveal, I suppose. And on there, I think my test was like, what was it, 700? 700, 600, something like that. It was high on the natural scale or whatever. It wasn't above natural, it was just high. But yeah. Amazing how the program has evolved. Yeah, man, absolutely. There's always evolution. There's always learning, constant evolution. You never stop learning, man. Like, you never stop learning and adjusting, and that's what this journey was for me. It's one big experiment, one big cycle of evolution that never stops. Every day you learn something, or at least you hope you learn something. If you don't, then it's a sad day, really. You know, the whole idea is to learn and get better every day. And with your knowledge increasing, you tend to learn. And also, over the years, my ego has also calmed down a little bit with age, as is normal. And so, you know, on days like this, I probably would have gone to 200 or 210, but I'm going to stop at 180. Wait for a really good day when this thing's really flying to go above and above. So, and I always leave the other plate off. I've almost done it again. All right, 180. Beautiful. There we go. Just finish off with a bit more adductors. Finish up with a long exercise. Release some of that tension. All right, let's go back. Let's go back. Finish off with some adductors again. Love this freaking machine. At the start, when I got these machines, I was more excited about the abductor. But now I've kind of realized the adductor, this thing, seems to make me feel a little bit better because it's long. Keeps me long. And that's really cool to me. Really, really cool feeling. Kind of releases you at the same time. It's weird, man. So 41 kilos will do it. And yeah, nice way to finish off. Bunch of 30s, feels good. Kilo, 100%, there is one, no one size for all, our bodies are different. Might have missed it, but what are the reasons for the adductor work, Ivan? Hip pain again? What are the reasons? So, I mean, the first reason is I got the machines. I mean, that was the biggest thing. You know, I have access to them now. A lot of the training that we do, especially if you're at home, revolves around what you have access to, you know. And so for a very long time, I didn't have access to a lot of things, so I just stuck with SPD and its close variations. But since I got them, and the reason why I bought them and I bid on the auction was because of my previous experiences at the gym. It was one of the reasons why I initially went to the gym after training at home for such a long time, and that is adductors as a whole play a huge role in the initial squat strength from out of the hole. When you first come out of the hole, there's a lot of adductors. When you are at the bottom of the squat, and I'm talking about an ATG squat, your glutes are in this stretched position, and they are mechanically not in a favorable position. They kind of leave it out to be the main hip extensors. And so what happens in the bottom of the squat is that your adductors become the primary hip extensors. And so adductors are massive for out of the hole strength. That's one thing that people don't appreciate about adductors. They're not a sexy muscle. And this is a sus exercise, right? So people don't like to do them. They don't want to be caught dead in them, let alone do it. So that's the first thing. And so when I went and tested it out years ago in the gym, I felt like when I go absolutely bonkers on the adductor machine, then I go squat, my squat feels terrible. And I was like, aha, this is interesting. This is significant. Why is the adductors really, when I push this hard, making my squats feel terrible? There's a relationship there. Because if you say to yourself, if I go crazy with bicep curls and then I go squat, the squat feels great. You know, so the biceps don't affect squat, right? So you tend to kind of like make these connections throughout your journey when you test. And surprisingly as well, when you go nuts on the abductors, then you go to squat, your squat also feels crap. So I was like, okay, so there is this hip component to squatting, which is, you know, maybe not so obvious to a lot of people. And so when I decided to get this machine, I was like, okay, I've got a lot of trouble, a lot of history with hip pain. And so I'm sure this will make an impact. And back in the day when I was using them in the gym, my hips felt like butter. And so now that I've got them, I'm using them every single day and my hips have been feeling amazing. Surprise, surprise. Initially I was like, I don't know which one to favor more. Do I do both every single day? Initially I was like, no, I'm going to warm up with this thing, then squat, then finish off with this thing. And then I was doing more of this thing because this feeling was better than this thing. And so now I do this every other day, do this every day light. And when I push this hard, I also push this hard. Like last night, I did this for 70 kilos, sets of 20, 70 kilos for sets of 20. And so I push them hard, both every other day, but this one's kind of like a daily thing for me. And yeah, when I start to really squat a lot, like in a month and a half or two, I'm going to go nuts on this thing. It's going to be heavy ass squats. The bench is not going to take a lot of my time, so it's going to be heavy squats, multiple sets and reps. Finish off with this thing. I'm going to push both of these very hard. I'm going to basically be living in these three exercises, squats and these two machines. Can weighted single leg squats serve as an effective alternative to barbell squats? Tiger, I once saw a guy, I forget the guy's name, African American guy, He did this basically, and he did a whole series on it where he went absolutely nuts on pistol squats, absolutely bonkers, and he went up to like crazy numbers, like 3-plate front squat, 3-plate pistol squat. He got very strong at it, and I'm talking about like proper pistol squats. He got very, very strong at it. Went back to normal squats and he didn't improve at all. And I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned out of that, but I think the take-home message is that there is something else limiting his squat in the first place. Yes, he did get stronger in many different muscle groups, but the rate limiting step stayed the same, which in my opinion might have been lower back or adductors or core or something like that. So a lot of people think, oh, my quads are a limiting factor. Most of the time they are not. And if you don't believe me, go leg press. Most of the time you can leg press way, way more than you can barbell squat. And so your knee extensor strength is probably okay. Something else is limiting you. Now, if you are one of those elevator squats that I call, like up and down perfectly, all knees and freaking ankles, no hip at all. If you're one of those guys, sure, probably quads. But most people don't squat like that, especially the Westerners. Like I know Asians have this like preferable body anatomy and body leverages for squats. They tend to go up and down really, really well. And we're all jealous of them. But if you don't have that, then it's probably your hips, something about the hips, lower back is your rate limiting step. And so if you can leg press way, way more than you can squat, your quads are probably okay. Thank you, brother. I grew up in a family of 7, loved it. 3 kids for us. Will be big enough though, I think. It's a lot of work, isn't it? It's a different time as well, man. 180, mate, light work. I'm out. Got a busy day, but I will tune in again. Take care. Thank you, Killer. All the best, my friend. See you next time. Pavlinov says, do you eat sugar? What is your opinion about sugar? Oh, don't we all? We all eat sugar. Try to avoid it. It's not a staple, but it's hard to avoid. Interesting. I just thought to train them for stability with squats and running. Keen to see how the heavy adductor plus squats combo goes. Yeah, I'm interested as well. I really want to see how that goes. One of the criticisms about pushing squats really, really hard is that you tend to get really tight in the hips. So hopefully this machine combats that. It'll be really interesting to see how it all pans out. That is amazing, boys. All right, fellas, that's me. Done for another day. I've had enough, believe it or not. I'm off, brother. You're off, I'm off, everyone's off. Doc says anything for like Cossack squats? Nah, nothing like that, man. I used to do some Cossack squats back in the day for short periods of time just to test things out, but I never really got into them hard. Appreciate you all, guys. I need to get out of here. We on tomorrow? Yeah, we are. Probably similar time. Similar time. So 2 hours minus this time. I'm probably going to be up again. So a little bit different to previous days, but yeah, shift work and all that. I'll probably be around this time. Yeah, around this time I'll be on. Appreciate you all, guys. Doc, David, get some rest, mate. Thank you, Chris, Dave. Appreciate you. Dale, if you're still there, man. All the best on your journey. Brodness, everyone that's here. Hopefully I'll see you guys all tomorrow. We'll chop it up again and chill out and talk about life and everything and yeah, have some good times again. Appreciate you, fellas. Peace out.